Hello, everyone. Interesting times. I wasn't expecting to be doing this recording in these circumstances. Normally, I live in France and I'm in the UK, which is wonderful because I had planned to be here to spend Christmas with my son and his family, my grandchildren especially. And since arriving, there has been the emergence of this new strain of the virus and an extreme lockdown, with a ban on all travel to other countries. Well, it's the other countries that put the ban on, so they've isolated the UK. And so it's an interesting situation. Thank goodness for the NLP that I've studied over the years, because one of the key pillars of that is flexibility. And I suppose really one of the main things I've learned is to take things as they come. And one of the biggest factors in my ability to take things as they come is to not always see to see the funny side of things, to be amused, to be able to laugh. And it's certainly one of the joys of being with my grandchildren is that they laugh so fully in a whole body way. It's just remarkable. And years ago, well over 20 years ago, I met a man who was a master of laughter in therapy. And that man's name was Frank Farrelly. And I studied with him. Studied sounds too formal a word, because I modeled him in NLP terms, hung around him basically. I was one of his groupies, so to speak, in order to hang on every word, every action that he took, to see how he enabled people to do many things. But one thing was to laugh at themselves. And there's a lot presupposed in that statement. To be able to laugh at yourself means that you can stand back because you're laughing at yourself. You stand back and you can see yourself, hear yourself, almost as if you're an outsider. And that in itself brings about change. Most people who are into, or let's say stuck into issues, are embroiled in them, they're associated into them, they feel them, which is very useful at times, and it's very useful to be able to stand back. And if at that time of standing back, we can be amused, which I find is often what happens when people get deep learning. They can be very emotional and they can see the funny side of what's happening. It's freedom. And I remember particularly a delegate on one of my programs in India who had been, I suspect, very bullied in his family, very dominated. He lived at home, yet he was in his 20s. He was very quietly spoken, if indeed he spoke at all. And I introduced him to this whole way of learning how to be provocative with himself and lovingly provocative with other people. And he came back on the next program, which was about a month later, and he stood in front of the group and he said, I want to announce something. He said, learning how to engage with this laughter and this love has set me free. And he'd left home, he'd got a new job, he was setting up independently, and he now runs a successful coaching business. And as a detail, laughter does many things. It puts us into a state of deep relaxation, bypasses many of the lengthier meditative processes. It activates chemicals in our body that are good for us physically. It stimulates chemicals that just support us in our way of being. And there is no question in my mind that laughter and humour transform in some of the most rapid ways. And this is my topic, and it's my topic in life, and it's my topic for the conference that I will be taking part in. And it's my saviour in this moment of really not knowing how I'm going to get home or where I'm going to be and what the arrangements will be. Que sera, sera, as we say. And I will love sharing some of this with you and enriching it for you in ways I believe that can transform our lives for the better.